Richie Sambora just dropped a bombshell about a secret that's been buried for decades, a story involving Gene Simmons, Kiss, and an offer that could have changed rock history forever. What really happened behind closed doors when one of the most powerful figures in rock tried to recruit Sambora? And why did Richie walk away from what seemed like the chance of a lifetime? Stick with me, because the truth is even more surprising than fans ever imagined. Back in the early days, before he became Bon Jovi's legendary guitarist, Richie Sambora was face-to-face with a career-defining decision. Gene Simmons, the mastermind behind Kiss, didn't just casually suggest Richie join the band. No, he personally sought him out, convinced Sambora could elevate Kiss to an entirely new level. Imagine that, one of the biggest rock icons in history handpicking Richie as the future of his empire. But here's where it gets dramatic. This wasn't some casual jam session. Simmons arranged a secret audition at a New York studio. Inside, Sambora was asked to rip through Kiss's signature riffs and then showcase his own original style, proving whether he could blend into the Kiss machine while still standing out as Richie Sambora. The room was packed with Kiss members and management, silently watching every move. And then came the moment of truth. Gene Simmons made it official. He offered Sambora a contract. But this wasn't just about music, it was about total commitment. Endless global tours, strict image control, and even restrictions on personal appearances. Joining Kiss meant incredible fame and fortune, but it also meant giving up creative freedom. For a young guitarist chasing his dreams, most people would have signed on the spot. But Richie? He hesitated, and the reason will blow your mind. Sambora realized that the highly controlled world of Kiss just wasn't for him. His heart was rooted in blues-based rock, in freedom, in creating something personal. As he later admitted, "I needed space to play my own music, and I knew that path lay elsewhere." It was a bold, almost unthinkable decision. Gene Simmons respected the choice, but he never forgot it. Years later, he admitted Sambora could have been a perfect fit for Kiss, calling him the kind of guy who could own any big stage. But Richie's decision to walk away didn't close a door, it opened a bigger one. Because not long after, fate stepped in. Bon Jovi was searching for a guitarist. Richie auditioned, and the chemistry with Jon Bon Jovi was instant. From their very first rehearsal, they clicked in a way that would go on to define an entire era of rock music. Together, they built songs that blended raw rock power with unforgettable melodies, songs that would dominate stadiums for decades. Here's the twist: turning down Kiss wasn't the end of a dream. It was the start of a legacy. Richie Sambora's riffs, solos, and soaring harmonies became the backbone of Bon Jovi's signature sound. His decision, risky as it was, turned him from a promising guitarist into a global superstar. But the story doesn't stop there. In 2013, just when Bon Jovi was still at the top of the rock world, Richie shocked fans again by walking away in the middle of a major tour. Why? The reasons were as personal as they were painful. Years of grueling tours had taken a toll on his health. His daughter, Eva, needed him at home. And on top of it all, creative differences inside the band left Richie feeling like his voice wasn't being heard. Add to that a battle with substance abuse, and the weight became unbearable. Stepping away wasn't just a career move, it was survival. Still, Richie never turned his back on music. He poured himself into solo projects, collaborations, and charity work. In his own words, he needed to protect his health, his family, and his creativity, even if it meant leaving behind one of the biggest bands in rock history. And while his time with Bon Jovi ended, the legacy he built is untouchable: platinum records, iconic anthems, unforgettable tours, and a guitar sound that defined a generation. His choice to walk away from both Kiss and later Bon Jovi proved something powerful. Sometimes the bravest move an artist can make is saying no. Interestingly, Richie and Gene Simmons crossed paths many times after that fateful audition. From charity concerts in the 90s to joint interviews as recently as 2025, their respect for one another never faded. Even though their careers went in different directions, every encounter reminded fans what could have been and why it didn't happen. Of course, Gene has remained as controversial as ever, famously declaring rock is dead, while Richie strongly disagreed, pointing out that rock isn't gone, it's evolving. Their different philosophies, Gene's focus on branding and spectacle versus Richie's devotion to pure, heartfelt music, make their story even more compelling. Two giants of rock, connected by what almost was. And that's why Richie Sambora's story resonates so deeply. It's not just about guitars, contracts, or tours. It's about choices, about knowing when to step into the spotlight and when to step away, about courage, the courage to walk away from Kiss, the courage to leave Bon Jovi, and the courage to put family and health above fame. So now I'll turn it over to you. Do you think Richie made the right decision when he walked away from Gene Simmons' offer? And what about his later choice to leave Bon Jovi at the height of their fame? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what the rock community has to say. Because at the end of the day, Richie Sambora's journey isn't just rock history, it's a reminder that the most important stage is the one where you stay true to yourself.